All right, live. Welcome everybody to the Real World Productivity number 95. All right, looking forward to this. I think this week actually going to have video and sound. It's been a bumpy few weeks, but happy to be back, and I think I've got the tech bugs ironed out here this week. So anyways, wanted to say, first of all, if you're catching the replay, thanks for checking it out. You can come join us live. You can follow the link down below. Come join us in the Real World Productivity group. You do have to answer 3 tough questions about, making sure that you actually want to be in a group with other people who are interested in time management, productivity, automation, team building, all that sort of good stuff. Today, real quick, I wanted to talk about a recent podcast just recorded, hasn't been released yet. We've got a new app that I'm going to be checking out called Momentum, which is awesome. Got to hop on the call with one of the founders and creators, and I'm going to talk a little bit about that, as well as answering a good question about what are some things that you can do each day to increase your chance of success. And then specifically, somebody was asking about wealth, but it could be about anything. Really, this turns into a goal-setting issue and how you can focus yourself so that you are hitting those goals, whether it's wealth, whether it's quick revenue, whether it's learning more, whatever it is. So happy to dive into that, and then answering any questions from anybody in the group watching live as time allows. But that said, let's just get right into it. So had a really, really fun interview 2 days ago, I think now, but got to talk with Tiago Forte. So he is an author. He teaches productivity. I can't spend all the time going into it. Just listen to the podcast episode when it comes out. But fascinating guy, tons of experience. He's worked with people personally in productivity. He's worked with companies. He's got a lot of training and just a ton of experience. I really enjoy his writing. You should go check it out. You can check it out at Forte Labs. That's FORTE labs.co. And he was recommended to me earlier this year by Simon Lau of Otter.ai when I was asking previous podcast guests what their favorite reading of the past year had been, or video or just media. And he sent me an article Tiago wrote about progressive summarization and this idea of how do you, handle all this information that we have, and how do you make it more useful without you spending a lot of time up front, right? And this idea being that you don't know right away sometimes which article you read maybe is going to be the one that's super important down the road. So why would you spend all the time highlighting it and bolding sections and maybe making a summary like right away, right? You can't do that for everything right away, but there is a method you could apply to do this over time so that the things you reference more and more become more and more valuable and distilled and able to you can quickly go back and get a lot of value out of them. So that was the intro. That alone I highly recommend reading. A fantastic piece. And then he's got a course called Building a Second Brain, which then I think I haven't gone through it yet. I plan on doing it when I have some time, either this winter, maybe early spring, as far as this idea of there's, almost an infinite capability right now for everyone, including, us, to save all this information. We can go out and read all these articles, and we can get this and we can get that, but our brain can't handle it all. What do we do with that? And we've got these tools, but how do we use them to help kind of offload that stuff? So fascinating. Again, highly recommend you check it out. And the episode will be out, I believe, it's August 15th, about early September. So if you're a subscriber, you'll get a notification. You'll also be able to check it out on YouTube as well when that is published. So super excited about that. All right, grab some water and then we'll switch screens, and I want to chat about this app that I'm going to be checking out soon. So let's just hop over here. This is going to be an initial brief look at it. I've just had a chance to really play around with it, get a little idea of it, and talk with one of the founders, and wanted to share with everyone. So you can see over here, this is their layout of how they envision having the organization done. And I'm not going to go again into detail until I've had a chance to use this more, but I intuitively understand this. We look at this like I am is at the top, right, of this mountain, and you have other things that then break down what you do. You track things, you have things you need to review, or you organize, right, things you say no to, which this is very interesting and something fairly unique. They have a section where as they described it, no one else really gives you this option to say no. It's a task list or an organization system usually is just you have to do all these things, but it's good to remember you can say no, right? And then there's ideas, right? Just things you think about that might be neat someday. Active projects, archives, things that are done. And then right now, here's where you would pop things in, what's coming up next, and then things you can delegate out but that you want to keep an eye on. So really interesting. It's a progressive web app. It looks really nice. And I would highly suggest you go check it out at momentum.earth and watch this video. They put together a great, it's about 6 or 7 minute video that explains how it works and what their goal is with this and the goal for you to use. So once you actually go into the app, clearly there's not a lot of my stuff in here yet. I told them I wanted to try it from a high level first and just start playing around with it, but I just want to show you how you kind of move around in here. These are basically the different levels. So if we switch back to the mountain over here, you can see all the different levels. You have 4 different ones, which is what we're seeing here. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4 levels, and then within each level you'll see the ones over here. So if I click on this, we would go to next and away, and then up at the very top right is I am. And within here you can interlink, you can tag, you can add context. There's just a lot to it, and I highly suggest anyone, let me bring this back up, who's interested to go over here. You can click on Start Demo, and they've got it so you can just go and start adding things in and see how this works. This is really neat. So highly suggest that if you find that interesting or you think you might be interested in it, to go check that out and play around with the demo. I think that's a great idea to at least start to see the functionality and see what you can do with that. So 2 thumbs up so far to them. It was great talking to them, and even if it's something that I don't end up using personally, I could see this being really useful for a lot of different use cases. But I'm going to give it a spin and see if it could replace some of the tools I'm using, and then go from there, and I'll be sure to share that with everyone. All right, let's see. The last question I had that I wanted to talk about was, what are some things that somebody could do each day to really reach their goals and improve their chance of success? And this comes up because this is something that happened to me over the last year. And I said, this is great. Things are going mostly good. I feel well about, how I'm splitting my time, and I'm constantly making improvements. It's not like I felt like I had reached, the end point. It's a lifelong balancing act, and it changes over time. But I, was feeling the pinch. We had moved. I had lost a couple of clients that I worked on the side. We had more expenses coming in, and I was like, you know what? I'm just starting to not feel good about where things are going. Okay, I want to increase revenue, and one of the things I need to do is literally focus on that. So that's the start of this was, and I'll just use this as an example, was setting a goal, right? A concrete goal, or if you want to use it, SMART goal, right? Specific, measurable, achievable, gonna forget while I'm on camera. I think, attainable and time bound. And so setting that, is really the first step in my mind, that we get caught up that you kind of throw out a goal. But at the very least, you want to just take enough time to kind of put it within that framework of just saying, okay, I've actually set a goal that can be attained. Maybe it's a stretch, but it's not saying I'm going to make $100,000 online in the next 90 days when I've never made $100. And then setting a time bound to it so you have some boundaries for this, and then setting some time to review is what you're doing working. And I think that reviewing is probably one of the most important parts of this. Of course, you don't have a goal to hit. There's not a lot to review. But again, we don't often take the time to say, okay, stop doing, take a step back, look at what I have done. Is that moving me towards where I want to go? Yeah, okay, how can I take the good stuff, get more of that? How can I take the bad stuff or the stuff that just isn't working as well and either get rid of it or do it in less time or have someone else do it if it's crucial? All right, just something simple like that. And then, set times for taking actions. If it's not a daily thing, what is it? Is it every Monday, Wednesday, Friday? Is there specific actions that recur over time, or is it just you're taking different actions but you're moving towards that goal? And so, for an example, for mine, it was just every day. I added this to my daily review I did in the morning, and literally a line in there said, Okay, you've collected all of your stuff, you've got your to-dos, you've prioritized. Before you start going, have you made sure that your goals, or your actions in support of your goals are focusing on the things that are going to generate revenue? That simple. But a lot of times I would go back and look and be like, okay, I've got at least, 10, 20, 30% of the things in here are pretty questionable. Like, they're not directly related to that goal. And if that is truly my goal right now, then why am I doing this stuff? Do I need to have a new image made for, the website or something like that? That stuff is, if it's not immediately towards those goals, then either I need to get rid of it or totally delegate it or worry about it later. And so I think that applying that over time, again, to different levels for different people, you don't want to become just 100% focused on this unless that is your goal. But you apply this and you just remind yourself, then you review, all right, and then work towards that goal. So all that to say, I think that there's a pretty easy sequence of events you can take there, but it's implementing it and setting up the reminders and just having that framework instead of just setting a goal and then waiting and then looking and being like, oh, I didn't get there. If you've got a 90-day goal, then maybe every week you need to be looking back and saying, okay, did I do what I said I was going to do? If I am, how am I getting there? Are the good things good? How can I get more? How can I get rid of the bad things? And then on a daily basis, what am I doing, or what do I need to remind myself to make sure I'm aligned with that goal? So I think that can be hugely helpful. It's simple and can be a little tough to implement sometimes if you're not used to it. So use reminders. Put a sticky note in front of your computer, whatever it takes, right? Because this is really big picture, really powerful stuff. Maybe, it's becoming healthier. Maybe, like me, it was generating more revenue. There's so many things this can apply to, and it can really start to make some huge changes over time. So hopefully that is helpful. Let me check real quick, see if any last minute questions. All right. Don't see anything, so this is going to do it. Hopefully the audio and video came through. That'd be a nice change. And I think that's going to do it. If you're watching on YouTube, appreciate you checking this out. You can stay subscribed by clicking the button below. Stay up to date with these weekly updates. You can come join us live. That link is below as well to join the free Facebook group. Also put out some content on YouTube and Facebook as well that you can check out by being a member of the community. So come join us. All right, everyone, that's going to do it. I will see you next week.